Hey, Dr. Mike here. Do you have an attitude of gratitude? We'll stick around to learn why it can lead to a better life.
You're listening to Live Foreverish, a show dedicated to helping you live just a little longer. Here's your hosts, Dr. Mike and Dr. Crystal Gossard.
Welcome to Live Foreverish. Dr. Crystal.
Yes.
A little bit of gratitude can lead to a better life. Now, that's a big promise and claim, but I believe it.
I live by this. So
Yeah.
I'm so excited to have someone who has really taken a deep dive into this idea
Of
how
gratitude, yeah.
helping people to find that attitude of gratitude.
Yeah. Well, let's bring in our guest because we have a guest that's going to talk about. Matter of fact, Jamie Hess is our guest, and she has a podcast called Gratitude. Wait, see, I already messed it up. Gratitudeology.
You got it. You did it.
Gratitudeology.
Gratitudeology.
I'm grateful that I have two people to correct me here. That's great.
I think I said it wrong too.
But anyways, there she is. There's Jamie Hess. She's a TEDx and keynote speaker, media personality. There's a bunch of other stuff. I mean, we can get into a lot of that, but she's been all over the place. Today's Show, Good Morning America, The View, and beyond. So we're so thankful that you're joining Live Foreverish today. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So how did you do this? Like, why? Like, what out of all the things out there, you focused on gratitude?
I sure did. And mine came from the gift of desperation. And I believe deeply that when we have the gift of desperation, it's actually a blessing. Quick and dirty on me. Here's my background in 90 seconds. I was actually raised by, my mom is Joan London. She was a TV journalist. She hosted Good Morning America.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, fun fact.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I know your mom. I watch her all the time.
A lot of people say that. They're like, oh my God, I grew up with you and your mom was in my house while I ate pancakes.
Did you ever see? Oh, so yeah, this is
no.
I'm a little older than Dr. Crystal, just so you know. Okay.
Understood. So she hosted Good Morning America for nearly 20 years. And so my mom was kind of America's mom, just like apple pie, just everybody, just the sparkly face you saw on your TV in the morning. So you would think that I would just kind of be set up to have this kind of perfect trajectory. And
no.
What ended up happening, I think, is, have you ever had a situation where you looked up to someone so much that it almost felt like that could never be me, right? It felt very overwhelming to step into her shoes. They're big shoes. And I think because of that, in my teens, I just took a left turn. I just got overwhelmed. I had imposter syndrome already. I was born needing a cocktail. I was like, get me out of my own head. And I fell into a life with drugs and alcohol. And it damn near killed me in my teens and my 20s. Lucky for me, I had what I call the gift of desperation, which means it got bad fast. And so I got sober in my early 20s. What happened as a byproduct of getting sober, because, they say about recovery, addiction is the only disease that when you come out on the other side, you actually end up better than when you started. Like, in other words, if you have cancer, you do chemo and then you don't have cancer. But when you're an addict and then you go through the recovery process, like the 12-step process, you actually come out on the other side with a whole new framework for life, which is even better.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Blessing, absolute blessing. And what that ended up doing, gratitude was a huge part of that, a new understanding of gratitude. And my sponsor helped me frame that in a whole new way. All of these new elements that I had learned by getting sober and becoming a woman of recovery, of integrity, it started showing up in my professional life and I started falling up. I literally was getting promoted without even trying. I became a new version of myself and people started noticing. And I thought, there's something here. So eventually I evolved that message to help others. And now I'm a professional development coach.
Wow.
So I love the story. So what you're saying is you hit it hard. You crashed hard right after that in your early 20s. And that's what was a big impact for you. You used that to get sober versus some people who drag on addiction for 30, 40 years, right? And sometimes never get over it.
That's why a bottom is a blessing, right?
Yeah.
And You don't like, if you're listening to this right now and you're like, oh, I'm not at my bottom, like your bottom can be any time if you're ready to get sober.
Yeah.
And by the way, what I learned, because I was a chronic relapser in the very beginning of my recovery story, every bottom has a trap door. It can get worse. It's like you decide when your bottom is. But when I say the gift of desperation, I was out of ideas, you guys. I was out of options. And so the best option I had was to get sober, and what a blessing.
Yeah. I remember once, I'll just say this real quick. Then sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry. No, someone, I don't even remember who it was, but someone had said, rock bottom is a great foundation to build again.
It's great. That's awesome.
Because it's a good, solid, you're there, and now's your chance to really build up.
Yep.
Anyways.
Well, or there's only other one way. Of course, you could go down the trap door, but obviously there's the other option is you can only go up when you hit the bottom.
That's right.
Something else that came to my mind when you were talking about, it's a blessing to sometimes hit the bottom, because often we can't see and appreciate what we have if we don't understand what it means to not have as well. And so that brought you to gratitude. And I wanted to just read something. Our sponsor, Life Extension, we have a wellness blog, and one of our scientists, our research scientists, wrote about gratitude in the blog. So I'm going to read what they wrote, and then I want your take and you to share how you define gratitude. So she wrote, it's a funny emotion. It's not simply appreciation for your circumstances. There's a social component as well, an acknowledgement that you're not alone. Oh. So that's kind of how she described. This is Dr. Shana. Give her a shout out. But how do you describe gratitude?
Yeah.
Or how do you define it?
Well,
and why do you think it's missing in our society?
I believe an attitude of gratitude is the heartbeat of happiness. We're all looking for how to be happy, right? And like, what is the meaning of life? And why are we here? The idea is this, I've developed this really beautiful big life that, when I started, my husband and I, we've been married 14 years, and we were in the little studio apartment together. And now we've built this big, beautiful life. But I truly believe if all the cash and prizes were taken away tomorrow for whatever reason, that we would be just as happy, because we are absolutely steeped in gratitude. And so it really is an exercise. It's a practice. It is a pro-social exercise. I think one of the biggest disservices to people that we have done is telling them that gratitude kind of begins and ends with a gratitude journal, listing 3 things you're grateful for. And that's what gratitude is. That's a nice start. But it's kind of like, you go to the gym once, you lift one weight and you're like, why don't I have biceps? You got to do a little more work as a practice, because what ends up happening when you take on gratitude as a practice, okay, is that you start to retrain your neural pathways. And so you start to think differently. You start to intuitively take on challenges differently. For instance, I was just on a Zoom with a girlfriend this morning we were talking about something else, but she brought up a work struggle. She was like, I have these 2 really tough calls today. I have to make some tough, some tough decisions. And she has to tell some people about those decisions. They weren't going to be happy. And I said, Alicia, what I tell my students all the time is the following. We can wake up in the morning and say, oh my God, I have to have this tough call. It's going to go bad. They're going to yell at me. I'm so nervous, blah, blah, blah. Or we can choose to say, what an amazing opportunity to practice like my big girl communication skills, right? And to get a little tougher, to get a little more courageous, to practice having a hard conversation where I get to have like emotional intelligence, yada, yada, yada. Now, that, because I've done the work, is a more intuitive way that my brain works today. And so what that ultimately does is it keeps me out of anxiety. It keeps me in a more productive state of being. So a lot of times, I have leaders who are on the fence about booking me as a keynote speaker because they're like, gratitude, isn't that kind of woo-woo? And what I say is it's a soft solution to a hard problem. Our problem is lack of engagement, high turnover, our employees just like not knowing where to go next. Everyone's having a hard time. It's a crazy world. The solution is retraining your brain. And that's what I do.
Wow. So, so our podcast is called Live Foreverish. We talk about living, a little longer, but a whole lot stronger. And regardless of what you're going through, right? That you can optimize your health and all this kind of stuff. And gratitude, I think, is a natural part of that. So I was wondering, is there any evidence that having gratitude and practicing gratitude can actually have clinical benefit, health benefits?
I'm so glad you asked because once again, some people think it's a soft solution or it's woo-woo, but the reality is there's a ton of research. Dr. Robert Emmons and Dr. Martin Seligman are two of the preeminent researchers on gratitude. Dr. Marty Seligman, I quote his work a lot. I don't know if you know who he is. He's not just some boring psychologist. He's literally, his work has sparked the entire field of positive psychology. He has the Positive Psychology Center at UPenn. And, he was a former president of the American Psychological Association. He was the first person to kind of realize that psychology needed to study what makes life worth living, not just what goes wrong. So before him, we had studied like bipolar disorder and depression and He was like, well, why don't we study like what goes right and how to make that happen more often, right? So we talked about something called learned optimism, and that's a big part of what I teach. Look, at the end of the day, these tools and tactics are going to help us live a longer life. It's going to improve your quality of life. And to be quite honest, what is the point of living a longer life if you are miserable? To me, somebody who wakes up with gratitude in their heart every day, that is quality of life. So for me, look, we all want to live forever, but quality over quantity really at the end of the day. And that's how you live a quality life.
Yeah, I think that's great. I looked into this as well, and I've seen data with blood pressure improvements.
Yes, sure.
And it also improves relationships. And we know living longer and stronger.
Social connections.
Those social connections are so important. And it also kind of gets you out of your own head. Worrying about your own problems, and that can also have health benefits.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to hear. I want to get the inside scoop.
Love it.
On some of the podcast interviews she has interviewed on her podcast, the Gratitudology. Did I say it right?
Girl.
Gratitudology podcast. You have interviewed some really famous people, and I'm curious as to what are some takeaways or surprising concepts of gratitude when you're talking to, these people who it seems like they have it all, and how they are navigating this space of gratitude or maybe even the lack thereof. What were some surprising intakes that you can share?
I love to share my podcast guest insights because that's why I did this podcast, by the way. I believe that those of us who have been to the darkest places see the light that much brighter. And what a gift again, right? And so my podcast is literally, I interview celebrities, thought leaders, 8 and 9 figure entrepreneurs about the moment the switch flipped and they started seeing life through the lens of gratitude. So I've interviewed Gabby Bernstein. I don't know if you know who Gabby Bernstein is, but she's a big Oprah-approved spirituality guru. Teddy Mellencamp from The Real Housewives. Rainn Wilson, of course, from The Office, who's a big, big, big gratitude guy. I don't know if he has a really great podcast as well. I really recommend. Neve Schulman from Catfish. And so what a lot of them have in common, if you follow The Housewives at all, Teddy Mellencamp right now going.
I like Teddy, by the way.
That's awesome. Her dad is John Mellencamp. I used to live with Teddy, fun fact, in LA. We were best friends growing up from the horseback riding world. And Teddy's gone through a major cancer scare. She has stage 4 skin cancer. And you do not realize what you have until it is threatened to be taken away. And you have an entirely new perspective on life. And God forbid, you listening at home should go through that. But it's so helpful to hear somebody who is going through it and the new take that it gives them on just seeing their children's face every day. I think of one of my guests, a man named Justin Wren. He was an MMA fighter, big famous MMA fighter turned humanitarian. So he ended up going to live in the Congo. He lived in a hut in the Congo to help these people in Africa build infrastructure and clean water supplies. I mean, for a year. Incredible. And he came back and he got off the airplane after a year away, living in a hut. Okay. Gets off the airplane and he's at the airport in, I think, Atlanta. And he just wanted to go get, some chicken and a soda. He was starving. He had been eating rice and beans for a year. And he sits down at a fast food restaurant and he sees a mother and a daughter and they start to quarrel. And the mother said, "Don't you pour any more soda in that cup." She wanted her to drink water. And the daughter poured a little soda and she said, don't do it again. And she poured a little more and they got into it and she threw the soda in the trash and she said, I hate you. And he said, after I had just been in the Congo and I had seen mothers burying their babies because they don't have access to clean water, to come back to the Western world and see what we take for granted. And he goes, and it's not even their fault, that mother and daughter. They're just not in a place to understand gratitude like that, to understand what they have. So sometimes getting that perspective can really shake us up.
So that's such a good point. And that was something I was going to ask you about when we look at these practical ways. I know you mentioned, the gratitude journal. I've seen that as a recommendation. What are some other strategies to incorporate this practice?
Yeah.
And I say practice just kind of building on your earlier statements that it's not a one-time thing. This is something where it's a conscious decision. This is what I believe, to retrain your thinking and take a thought that would typically not be showing gratitude and spin it.
Yeah.
And to do that on a regular basis. And so can you share other strategies and how can we cultivate this in youth? We look at parents out there and we want to have children that can appreciate when things are good and when they're not good. So what can we do?
Love it. Okay, so that's like a two-part question. I'm going to answer it in two parts. Number one, the youth question. So first of all, I'm a big affirmations person. There's a lot of data and white papers on the power of affirmations in literally retraining your brain. I am somebody who defaults. And by the way, I want everyone listening to know, I get out of bed just like you do. Okay. 1 foot, 2 foot anxiety, right? I walk to the bathroom and immediately I look in the mirror and my brain wants to say, I can't, it's too hard. It's too scary. You're not enough, blah, blah, blah. But because I've done the work, I can get out of that a little quicker. And doing affirmations is a big part of that. When I'm driving to the gym in the morning and my brain wants to say, it's too early, you're too tired, there's no way you can possibly, I give myself a pep talk. I am my own best hype woman. You should hear me. I sound crazy.
I love it.
I mean, like I'm in it with myself. You're amazing. You're a hustler. People, like just about everything. People want to do business with you. You're a baller. Like telling myself I am, because eventually you start to believe it. So that's number one. Let's talk about kids for a second. My own children, very simply, we have what we call the gratitude circle. It's a little traffic circle that on their way to school, they're allowed to putz around in the car on the first 5 minutes of the ride. And then we say, all right, guys, we're approaching the gratitude circle. They put their devices away and we all do 3 gratefuls and 3 for the day. Simple. Me, my husband, my 2 boys. All right. So we start them young. And it doesn't have to be like a 6-hour thing. Like it is quick, but it is consistent. And then the last thing I'll just say for grownups, because I coach a lot of executives to help them when anxiety starts to spiral during the day. Number one, find the micro win. Send the email that you were dreading sending. Did you have that hard conversation? Give yourself a pat on the back because those small wins are the breadcrumbs to kind of getting back your confidence. Number 2, it's about looking for what is working. So I don't know if you know this, but like our brain is literally designed to scan for danger. This is coming back from like when we were having to keep ourselves safe from the saber-toothed tiger. Okay. But our brain never learned that there's no more saber-toothed tiger. So when you get that snarky email from your boss, your brain says saber-toothed tiger. That's why you get like the flood of fear. So how about what's one thing that's going right today? Start to train your brain to look for what's right. And then finally, anchoring to purpose bigger than that moment. So for instance, why are you doing this work? Like instead of getting bogged down in the micro moment, who does it serve, right? Like when you reconnect with purpose, the pressure shrinks and your perspective expands.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. This is all excellent information. And it's such it's not rocket science. I think that's what I like about it too. Do you ever use like the Post-it notes over when you were saying, giving yourself pep talks? I've seen
right here.
when you have
I
You
have
have the
it.
post-it notes
This one literally
Oh my
says,
gosh, there it
I'm
is.
and the
focused.
sticky notes on the mirror in the bathroom.
It says, I am
Oh.
focused. I am amazing. I'm a baller. I'm abundant AF. This is a love note I wrote myself. Because you got to stay in it. You know, Tim Story, I interviewed Tim Story on my podcast. He's another big Oprah guy, Super Soul Sunday. He has coached Charlie Sheen, Kanye West, oh my God, Dog the Bounty Hunter, all these people who have been through the worst of the worst. He's a pastor. And he said, when you're going through hell, don't pitch a tent. Okay. We're all going to go through hell. Right? We're all going to go through it. But every day we have two choices, either to let life happen to us, which is like a victim mindset, or to step forward with gratitude, grace, and intention and shine our light on the world. And that's how you become a magnet for good things to happen to you. You know, we hear people be like, oh, why do bad things always happen to me? Because you're saying that. The more you say that, the more you attract that energy. But when you have
That is so,
yeah.
I'm like, amen.
you know, when you have a grateful heart, you become a super attractor.
Yes. That is spot on. I love everything that you're saying. You're listening to Live Foreverish with our special guest, Jamie Hess, the host of Gratitudeology. Jamie, just in closing, what is the most important message you want our listeners to take away today?
That you have the power to change your life at any time. So I know what it feels like to feel stuck today. And I know if you're listening and you're like, yeah, it's easy to be grateful when you got it all, when things are going right. I get that. But you have the power to reinvent, to rewrite, to re-engineer your life starting now. It is how you talk to yourself. It is the small actions you take, and you don't have to make a big plan that you're going to start tomorrow or in a week or in a month. You can start right now.
Thank you so much. How can our viewers connect with you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. I'm at Jamie Hess, Hess. And I'm also, of course, on my website, which is meetjamiehess.com.
All right. Thank you for joining us. And we hope that our listeners can really take this to heart. What you're sharing with the world is so valuable. It just helps to make us all a community, make the world a better place. And thank you for doing your part.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And if you would like more Live Foreverish episodes, you can head over to liveforeverish.com. And we have tons of episodes, almost 400, going on 500 episodes. There's something for everyone.
For sure.
You know, this topic, at first we were thinking, you know, this is a health and wellness topic. How can we pull in gratitude? But it makes sense to me. Like,
Well,
it's all about a healthy mental state. Some people kind of separate mental health from whole body health, but it's all one body.
Your body don't separate it.
It's all one body. And so thank you for listening to our podcast on gratitude. And let's check out some of the other podcasts that we have. And you can also head to...
But before they do that, we need reviews.
We do need reviews. Give us feedback. Give us more topics that you would like for us to cover.
All
Give
fantastic.
us ideas.
Yes.
Is there someone out there kind of like Jamie Hess that's really making a difference and you want them on our show? Let us know and we'll try to get them on the Live Foreverish podcast. Also, like, share, comment, subscribe so you will never miss a show. And our sponsor, Life Extension, wants to say thank you by giving you a special offer. Head over to lifeextension.com. Look around. If you see something you like, add it to your shopping cart and use the discount code podcast to receive a 10% discount on $50 or more plus free shipping and handling. Again, that's with the code podcast. I'm Dr. Crystal.
I'm Dr. Mike.
Thanks for listening.